Let's go through your Unit 7 study guide to see how you did. For A, 46 is larger than negative 25 because positive numbers are larger than negative numbers. For B, negative 58 is less than negative 16 because when we start with a number line, if here's 0, negative 1 is going to come here, negative 2, negative 3, negative 16 would fall before negative 58. Negative 16 is closer to being in the positives than negative 58, so it's a smaller number. Same goes with negative 3/4 and negative 1. We are here, this would be where negative 1 would be, and negative 3/4 is between 0 and negative 1, 3/4 of the way, so negative 3/4 is actually a greater number. For D, 6 to the second power, remember that that means 6 times 6. So here we have a value of 36, whereas 4 to the third power is 4 times 4 times 4. So that's 16 times 4, which is equal to 64, and therefore 4 to the third power is actually larger than 6 to the second power, so 6 to the second power is less than 4 to the third. Here you need to solve this side of the equation. We have negative 5 plus negative 5. Well, we're adding. Our signs are the same, so we find the sum. Both are negative, so our answer here is negative 10, because 5 plus 5 is 10. Negative 10 is actually closer to 0 than negative 11. It's better to be negative $10 than negative 11. So negative 10 is greater than negative 11. Here again, I'm going to solve both sides of the equation. 28 divided by 4 is 7. And over here, I need to keep, change in order to solve this. So now I have two positives. This value is 11. 7 is less than 11. 11 clearly is greater than 7. Now let's look at number 2. The first direction says to cross out the expressions which are not number sentences. 24 is not a number sentence, and 35 times 10 to the third is not a number sentence. The reason why, I'm going to answer this question down here first, that those two expressions are not number sentences is because I can't look at them and say true or false because there is no relation sign, meaning there is no greater than, less than, or equal to. 24, I don't know whether that's true or false. Whereas the rest of these I can look at and say 15 is less than. I can answer this as a true or false question. I can decide whether this side is equal to 21. As I can do with the rest of these, I can decide if this number is greater than negative 7, and I can decide if these two are equal. So the next thing is to go through and circle the number sentences that are true. Let's start by looking at B. The first thing I needed to have noticed was this was a subtraction problem, so I changed it into adding its opposite. So negative 35 plus positive 9. My signs are different. The difference is 26, and I have a negative. So 15 is less than negative 26 is a false problem, so I am not going to circle this one. C should be circled because I'm going to again change this to adding the opposite. My signs are now different. The difference between 35 and 21 means or 14 means to subtract. We get 21. There are more positives, so 21 equals 21. This is a true statement. D is also a true statement that should be circled. If you multiply 8 times 8, you get 64. And if you multiply 64 times 8, you get 512. 512 equals 512, therefore this is true. Now if we look at E, we are adding. The signs are different. The difference here is 4. And I have more negatives, so I have a negative 4 is greater than negative 7. Well, that is true. Negative 4 is closer to 0 than negative 7. So this one should also be circled. And then we have 10 to the second power, which is equal to 10 times 10. Well, that's 100. On this side of the equation, we have 2 to the 10th power, which means 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, etc., until you've done that 10 times. Well, that's going to be a number larger than 100, so this one is false. Now let's move on to number 3. Of all the choices here, the best choice to match the number model here for the story of John having 6 packets of eraser, each pack has 5 erasers, and then his friend gives him 10 more, is this one, because I'd want to do 5 times 6 first and figure out that I have 30 erasers, and then add the 10 that my friend gave me. Here I'm doing 6 plus 10, so that'd be like having 16 times 5 packs, which is not what this says. Whereas this one would be adding this first, making 6 plus 5 is 11, and I have nothing that has 10 times 11. Up here, same with this one. This one I would do 6 times 10 first, giving me 60, and there wasn't 10 packs, I just got 10 extra erasers. So this is the best choice. That's the explanation. Looking at 4a, the only way to make this true would be to put your parentheses around the 4 and 40. Because if I did 5 times 4, that's 20, and 20 plus 40 isn't going to give me 220, but 5 times 44 will. Over here on B, if I followed the order of operations, I would do a division problem here first, which is 19. And if we add 19 plus 49, then we would get 68. So we do want to do this portion first. Now let's look at our integer problems. Here I have 3 plus negative 19. I'm adding. My signs are different. The difference between a 19 and a 3 is a 16, and I have more negatives in the problem, so negative 16 is my answer. For number 6, again, we're adding. We have same signs. My signs are the same, so I find the sum. 10 and 5 make 15. I have 5 negatives and 10 more negatives, so my answer would be negative 15. Here I'm not adding, so I'm going to need to change this into addition, which means I need to turn the number after it into its opposite. So now I have an addition problem that is negative 35 plus negative 98. My signs are the same, so again I'm going to find the sum. Both signs are negative, so my answer is going to be negative 133. Now, this last problem here, I have negative 11, and I'm supposed to be subtracting negative 7. Well, again, my rules won't work with subtraction, so I'm going to turn this into its opposite and this into its opposite. So I keep the first number, change the sign, and change the following number. Now I have an addition problem. My signs are now different since I have a negative and a positive. I have more negatives, so my answer will be negative, and the difference between a 7 and an 11 is a 4. So the answer here is negative 4. Down here we're using pictures to create a balance. I want a balance of $5. Because I want a balance of $5, I'm going to start by creating 5 positives. Now on this problem I could just leave it that way because that is a balance of 5 positives. Or, if I wanted to add more counters, for every positive I add, I have to add a negative, or vice versa, because a positive and a negative total 0. So I could do that and leave it. I still have a balance of 5 because I've only added 0 to the problem. A negative plus a positive equals nothing. Over here, if I want a balance of 5 negatives, I again would start with my negative counters. So I need to have 5 of those so that that's my ending balance. But I'm supposed to use 9 counters exactly. If I've already used 5 negatives, that means I have 4 more counters to use. The only way to create a 0 using 4 counters is to put on 2 positives and 2 more negatives. What that would do for me is put on a 0 here using 4 counters. There's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 counters, and my balance is negative 5. For the final two problems here, we have 10 to the 8th power in standard notation and number word notation. In standard notation, I would write a 1 with 8 zeros. That's what 10 to the 8th power is. I move that decimal 8 times. In 1 and 4/10 times 10 to the 3rd power for standard notation, if I started with 1.4, it says 10 to the 3rd, so I move it 1, 2, 3, which means actually only adding 2 zeros, since this 4 is going to count as one of those places in 10 to the 3rd power. 10 to the 3rd power is worth 1,000. If you multiplied 1,000 times 1 and 4/10, you would end up with 1,400. As far as number and word notation goes, this problem right here, you say that 100 million. You would write that 100 million. For the number 1,400, I would write 1,400. That's number and word. I hope you did well. If you didn't, please go back and review those problems. Look back through your study links and your Everyday Math Journal 2, all Unit 7 pages.